Welcome back to Women's Wealth, The Middle Way, the show that answers your questions about work, money, and family. My name is Susan McGlory Michael, and I am the CEO and founder of Glen Eagle, a wealth management firm in New Jersey.
My name is Carol Ann Fernandez, and I'm the COO of Glen Eagle. We're very excited today to have our guest, Staci Wanichek, President and CEO of Evergreen Labs. Her company's popular brand, Wanichek, has received more media endorsements than any other red wine stain remover on the market. Staci co-founded the firm in 1997 with her mother, and we want to say welcome to you, Staci.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're glad you could join us. I think it'd be helpful if maybe you just share a little bit of your background with our listeners.
Many people think that I started the company and that I'm actually a chemist. And after graduating college, I did not work in the chemistry field. I actually have a degree in public relations and communications. And so I worked in public relations and was director of marketing and sales for a couple of different companies before starting my Wanichek company.
That's very interesting. So I guess that leads into then, how did you end up starting Wanichek?
Yeah. So the story's kind of a fun story. So again, after I graduated college, I moved to Seattle and I worked for a public relations agency for a couple of years and then went into some marketing and sales for some different companies. And while I was working for a chemical company, we had come up with an all-purpose cleaner and degreaser, and it was a very small company. And at the same time, everybody else came up with an all-purpose cleaner and degreaser. And so even though the product worked great, we were too small to compete. And so I was in my 20s and was really beginning to learn about wine and red wine specifically. I really thought I knew a lot. And I had several friends that kept telling me that this product that we had for the chemical company worked pretty good on red wine stains because they weren't using it as an all-purpose cleaner and degreaser. They were using it just sort of all around their house. And I said, oh no, nothing works on red wine stains. And I kind of ignored them for a while. And then one day I came home back to Walla Walla from Seattle to visit my parents. And I was at a wine party and there was lots of wine spilled. And my friend said, hey, when you go home, come back tomorrow and bring some of that product with you. You've got to see this work. And I said, okay. So I came back the next morning and thought, I was really glad that it was not my house. It was their rental house. And so we used the product on the stain and it worked pretty good. It wasn't great, but it worked okay. And so then I went back to the chemist who happens to be my father. And I said, hey, Dad, this product works pretty good on red wine stains. It's not perfect, but there really isn't anything out there to remove red wine stains. Could I stay here and work with you for a little bit and see if we can tweak this formula to make it work better on red wine stains? So for about a month and a half, we tweaked the formula. We give it out to the friends that told us it worked on red wine stains and finally came up with the formula that we have today. And nothing about our formula has changed. And it worked. And so I then said, gosh, what in the world do I now do with this product? Hey, it's nifty. It works on my friend's red wine stains. And so I called the editor of Food and Wine magazine and got him on the phone and was telling him about my product. And he was much in the same mindset as I was. And he said, nothing works on red wine stains, but go ahead and send it my way. We'll test it. And I thought, okay, he's not really interested, but I'll send it anyway. So I literally got a white, kind of an old triangular Pepto-Bismol shaped bottle. And I literally wrote my name and my phone number in Sharpie and a really short cover letter and sent it off to him. I didn't even have a product name. It was just, hey, what do you think? About 2 weeks later, he called me and he said, so we tested your product in our test kitchen and it worked on linens and old tablecloths and dried stains and carpet, and we love it. And we want to write about it in next month's issue. And he said, so I'm going to need product image and phone number I need to know how much you're going to sell it for and all of the above. And I'm sitting in little Walla Walla right at that time, super excited that they wanted to write about it, but we didn't have any of this, anything done. It was literally just a kind of what do you think thing. And so within 2 weeks, we designed the label that we have now and got the phone number, incorporated my business, got a phone number, and I launched my business with my very first write-up in Food and Wine magazine. I kind of like to call it, I'm a big, huge Disney fan, and Snow White, they call, is the one that started it all. And I think that the write-up in Food and Wine magazine is the one that started it all for me. And so that's how I got my start.
That's great. I find it so interesting because I feel like a lot of people come up with the idea and then try to create the product, and you almost went the opposite way where you had the product and then just perfected it. That's a very cool story. So I also work in a family business, so I was just wondering if you could touch a little bit on what it was like. I don't know if either of your parents are still in it, but what it was like working with them and that unique story.
Yeah. So when you grow up with an entrepreneurial family, like my father has always owned his own business, you have an example of what it's like to own your own business. And I think I learned a lot by watching and listening to stories that my father would tell me about his business. And I even had the opportunity to go on business trips with him when I was younger. And so I think that his influence has always been a part of what led me to where I am today. And again, many people ask, hey, are you a chemist? I'm not. My background is in public relations and advertising. For Wine Away, it's just one of those truly accidental discoveries. And then I think the sweetest part of this company of Wine Away has been working with my mom. And my mom has retired several years ago, and my dad has not ever been part of my business. I bought the formula from him and started the company on my own. But what happened though was there's that saying that says it takes a village, and I genuinely believe in this quote, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the support of my family. They've always been my biggest cheerleaders, but my mom, she's who I founded the company with. And when I started the company, she had literally just retired from her job working as a public relations assistant at the college here in Walla Walla. And she was golfing and really just enjoying being retired. And so when we got our write-up in Food and Wine magazine, the phones were just going crazy, and there was no such thing as internet at that time, or at least I didn't have it in Walla Walla, and there was not email and text messaging. And so I said, would you mind just coming down to the office for a couple hours, just a couple days a week? I can't do my real job, which is what I was making money doing, because I just started this other one and I wasn't quite ready to let go. And I said, I can't really do my real job and this job at the same time, and I'm struggling. Could you just come help me out with the phones just a little bit and talk to people and help me with orders and things? And she's like, oh yeah, that would be really fun. I'd love to. Well, a couple days a week, a couple hours a week turned into a full-time job with her. And then she became our international sales and marketing director for many years. And so even though she has officially retired several years ago, she still continues to be my guiding light and provides this wonderful perspective when I ask for help.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, I agree. I had two entrepreneur parents, and it is definitely a different mindset when you grow up watching that. I think you just get the bug sometimes. You can't help it. So.
Yeah, and I don't know that when I graduated college, I think there's degrees now that are just an entrepreneur degree that they graduate from college with that. And I don't know that I really thought that I wanted to own my own company. That wasn't really in my mindset. I wanted to work a little longer for other people and learn different things, but this was just one of those things where it was just staring at me in the face, and I had to take the leap of faith and go for it.
Well, it seems to have worked out very well, and it's an amazing story. I've enjoyed hearing it, and now I'm definitely going to have to check out your product. To close, maybe we like to ask usually all our podcast guests, just what's one piece of advice maybe you'd give to a woman who's listening to this thinking about starting their own business?
I don't know if there's just one piece of advice that I can offer. I think there's multiple things, but I think that you got to be willing to take the leap, even if it's scary. You've got to do the research, put in the time. Most importantly, ask others for guidance. You have to remember that your success depends on you. So you're going to have to hustle for your dream. And I think one of my favorite quotes has always been by Oprah Winfrey, where it says, listen to the rhythm of your calling and follow that. I think that it's important that you listen and you go for it and you challenge yourself and you believe not only in yourself and your team, but that you're going to find a way to do it if you really want to do it.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for asking me to be on your podcast.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Women's Wealth, The Middle Way. Make sure to subscribe to us and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast app. Join us for new episodes every other Wednesday. See you in 2 weeks.